Good morning, everyone. It's a wonderful Wednesday. Welcome to Breakfast Daily on City TV. My name is Kokui Selome Hansen. We're going to have a great show, everyone. So just put your remote control somewhere and relax and watch us, okay? Our hashtag is Breakfast Daily, and you can send us a message on WhatsApp, 0550-585832. We want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on with you today, and we want your comments on everything we'll be discussing during the show, and it's going to be a great one, so you don't want to miss it, okay? Now, that was Josh Gamson that we heard opening the show for us, and we'll hear more from him later on, so stay tuned for that. But for now, why don't we start off with a word of motivation and inspiration? Okay, so Balthasar says, be content to act and leave the talking to others. Be content to act and leave the talking to others. You know, it kind of reminds me of my alma mater's motto, be content to act and leave the talking to others. Our motto, Holy Child School, is facta non verba, which means action, not words, right? Action, not words. Talk is cheap, as they say. People can talk, right? But if you're the one who's actually putting words into action, it puts you a cut above the rest. So, again, be content to act and leave the talking to others. That's our motivational word for today. And hopefully, you derive something from it. All right. Now, the show is brought to us by Creamy Plus Evaporated Milk. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing this morning, if you're eating something that can include milk, please get your Creamy Plus, pour some in there, make it nice and sauté and enjoy it, okay? And it's also brought to us by Sky Water. If you're a wache or kinke kind of person in the morning, wash it down with some Sky Water and you'll feel refreshed and your food will digest properly as well. Also, Note Cosmetics, our makeup partner for Breakfast Daily. Thank you for bringing us makeup to make us look bright and shiny on your screens. And we appreciate you being part of the Breakfast Daily sponsor family, okay? Now, don't forget that the whole month of June is the City Business Festival. And every Tuesday at 11 a.m., we bring you our live forum where we discuss important business issues and topics with the panelists. And every weekday on 97.3 City FM, we also have our daily City Business Festival topics as well. So stay tuned for those. Now, when it comes to the City Business Festival, we cannot do it without our sponsors, and we want to acknowledge them. It is powered by ABSA. Thank you to ABSA for being a big part of the City Business Festival. It's also brought to us by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, by MTN, by IT Consortium, and Gersal also for our panel discussions. We also want to say a big thank you to LifeMate Furniture, who on our weekly fora, they actually provide our set and our furniture. So thank you to LifeMate and thank you to all of our sponsors for City Business Festival. Now, again, it's the month of June and it's all about business. You don't want to miss the City Summit, So City TV in partnership with ISSA will bring us the City Summit. Very, very important discussions will be taking place at the Ridge Arena at Lisa Hotel on the 27th of June, okay? And that will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So don't forget, tune in for that. This is, again, the City Summit, a conversation about the global economic situation, its impact on sub-Saharan African countries, and the Ghanaian economy. Now, if you want more information or you want to learn how you can participate in this, you can also contact us on 0550-973-973. Again, the number is 0550-973-973. Again, this is powered by ABSA and supported by MTN and IT Consortium. Again, that's the City Summit on the 27th of June at the Alisa Hotel, brought to you by City TV and ISSA. Okay. Also, don't forget, we're still taking your submissions for the literacy challenge. Now, if you're a JHS student out there and you love to write, you think you've got some talent in that area, please send your submissions in. You have until the 10th of July to get those in there. Now, here is the topic for the Literacy Challenge this year. You've been appointed as an advisor to the Minister of Communications and Digitalization. In not less than 600 words, you're required to write to the minister advising on how Ghana can deploy technology for poverty reduction and national development. Remember, the grand prize is 10,000 Ghana cedis. You can call 0205-973-973 if you have any inquiries or questions. Remember, again, the deadline is 10th July 2022. And please, it must be handwritten, and information on how to submit your essay is all there. Now, it has to be, again, no less than 600 words. It must be handwritten. It must be signed by your parent or guardian. And please, please, please don't forget to include your full contact details so we know how to get in touch with you. All right, now my colleague, Kweku David, you don't see him here in the studio. That's because he's out and about trying to bring us some information about what's happening on the motorway. Now, we all know the problems that the motorway has, but Kweku has made his way there so he can show us firsthand what's going to be happening. As we understand, there'll be some diversions as some work will be taking place on that major road. So let's touch base with Kweku and see what's happening where he is. Good morning, Kweku.
Hi, Kokwe. Good morning to you and all of our lovely viewers who join us every morning for breakfast daily. Well, I'm out here at the motorway. Behind me is the former toll booth. It's there. Now, the traffic on the motorway is legendary. So, I mean, those coming from the Tema side, it backs up all the way for kilometers. You know, it's backed up, and we'll show you that in a little bit. But later on in the segment at 8 o'clock, that's when we're going to show you the construction that's going on, the bridge maintenance that's going on, and some of the potholes that are on the motorway that are causing a lot of pain and angst for a lot of the commuters that use the motorway on a regular basis. Drivers complain of burst car tires and all those kinds of things that happen here on the motorway. So we're going to bring all of that to you. Now, the government is looking at fixing some of the bridges that are creating problems and potential danger in the future to forestall any of such things happening. And then also, I think they're going to use the opportunity as well. Of course, we'll be talking to some authorities later on as well to find out if they are going to fix potholes in the interim before they come into the full work that they're going to do on the motorway. So we are here just to bring you some of the images and live action of what's going on. We're going to see whether the workers are on site or not yet. By the time we show you those images, it's going to be 8 o'clock, and so I'm expecting workers to be fully engaged and at work. So we'll see. We'll find out at the time whether they are there or not. Yeah. But I've noticed that some gullies are opening up by the side of the motorway. In the median, the median has some form of almost like a drainage in between the two sides.
All right.
But on the side of the road that has no there's no seem to be any gutter on
that
the
side,
right side of the road.
All right,
yes,
Kweku, I think what we'll do is we'll touch base with you in just a little bit because we know you're going to bring us some in-depth information and interviews and stuff from that area. So we'll come back to you in just a bit so that we can really delve into what's going on at the motorway. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so much again. So there's Kweku David. For those of you who use the motorway, you probably want to stay tuned and see what exactly is happening there and the work that's going to be going on to hopefully make life a bit easier for those who ply that route on a daily basis. And some of us use it occasionally, and it's still important. We all have a stake in that major road, which was constructed by our first president, Osagyefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Okay. Now, we'll be going into the newspapers to see what's on the front pages this morning. And as I've already said, we'll touch base with Kweku David a bit later. But before that, let's remind ourselves of what we celebrate in the month of June, which is all things business with our City Business Festival. Why don't you take a look about some of the discussions we've been having so far this week? say COVID was a blessing, what this intervention did was that for the first time, it created an opportunity for people to access funding they've never ever accessed before. So the government's intervention of providing CAP business support brought in funding that then went to support especially women-owned businesses.
Okay.
And so I always say that what COVID did was that it exposed to us the need for funding for women-owned businesses and for us to really push funding to support these businesses.
Okay.
So this funding came in and it stabilized a lot of these businesses, created opportunity for them to really also move even beyond stabilization and hold them steady. Yes, some businesses unfortunately had to shut down, some businesses are still recovering, and some sectors are still hurting. Unfortunately, it's a global pandemic. So globally, that is what is happening. But for Ghana, we did a survey and we did an impact assessment, which the World Bank and UNDP actually initiated, and realized that through this funding that we had put in businesses, it increased the sales of small businesses by 22%.
I think that SMEs should also learn how to put in place these business continuity plans so that they can, it forces you to also think ahead. If they can't do it themselves, okay, we have a lot of consultants available. They should spend a little money and seek these services to help them prepare for the eventual, the unforeseen eventualities. Okay, it helps a lot. I'm sure if most of these SMEs had that plan in place, I'm sure a lot of them would have, easily managed the situation.
Yeah.
But most of us didn't think about that. So business continuity plan, it's very important.
Okay.
Now let me look at it from the banking sector. Okay, anytime there are crises like this, we all look at the financial institution. In fact, during the COVID, I realized that we are very essential institution because those that were asked to continue to work, we were part of them. We're also going to work. We're seen as the health, we're very important at that time. So what this means is that we will continue to exist to support businesses.
As a business owner, the question you need to be asking yourself is, what gets in the way of my business being able to pivot and adjust quickly if a crisis happens? What is it we need to be doing now so that if we need to adapt quickly, we're able to do that? What are the assets that we currently have that enable us to be adaptable? So those are the kinds of questions you should be asking yourself as a business owner around adaptability. Yeah? Okay. Partnerships. Fully agree on the partnerships and the collaborations. What are the questions you should be asking yourselves? Huh? Do we currently as a business have the right networks to enable us to seize opportunities? If not, who do we need to be associating with to be able to seize opportunities?
Right.
Digitization is key. Being present online, allowing customers to be able to access your services online, and all of that is very important. I think the SMEs just need to have that mind shift and ready themselves, train the staff. Start small. It doesn't have to use social media. Just start using social media, delivery platforms. You can register at those places, register with Uber and all those other places for delivery. Start small like that, and then scale up. I think it's very important because the thing is that you are operating within an ecosystem. Even if you don't want to change, your customers are changing. And then your partners are also changing. So if you don't change,
You lose out.
Yeah, you'd lose out.
So those were some highlights from our City Business Festival Forum yesterday about resetting your business after COVID, and it was a fantastic discussion. And thank you once again to all of our panelists who joined us yesterday, Taka, Richard, Audrey, and Kozi as well. We'll be getting into sports next, so stay tuned. Benjamin Kitia is in the house. So a very good morning to you, Benjamin. How are you doing?
Hey Kokwi, welcome to the sports segment here on the Breakfast Daily. How you doing?
Oh, it's Wednesday. You know, it's hump day. It's the middle of the week. So I'm good. I'm happy.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, let's get right into it for today. Let's start off with some Black Stars related stuff. Some really interesting conversation going on. First of all, is that Richmond Boakye Adom is in the news. He's been talking. So he basically has waded into a conversation that's begun to trend about how the technical handlers of the Black Stars don't give enough opportunity to local-based players. And so basically the word out is that these local players get invited and all they do is occupy space. You know, some of them don't even get jerseys to wear on game day. Like, I mean, how? Oh, yeah. I mean, they don't wear jerseys on game day. They're just part of the pool. They probably might get a bonus or the appearance fee or whatever it is that's been shared, but they never see game time. And he is basically saying that there needs to be a mindset change from local players. Like, He says, as a local player, you need to have the why you are going to the national team, because he thinks that a lot of local players just go looking to add up to the numbers. A lot of them actually get starstruck when they enter the Black Stars and like, that's Andrew, are you, and Jordan, are you?
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I mean, he's closer to the action, so I want to take his word for it. He says that a lot of them come, they are starstruck. A lot of them lack the experience of playing in front of big crowds, and so they get out there on the big stage and there's stage fright. So Richmond says that, Charlie, you need to have a change of mindset as a local player when you're coming to the national team. You need to have it in mind that by playing abroad, they already have an advantage over you. And so you need to put in 120% if they are putting in 100%, basically. So don't come just to add up to the numbers. Come with some substance. Come and tell the coach that, like, confuse the coach, like, hey, is this guy a local player? Like, that kind of thing. He wants local players to step up to the challenge in the wake of others. I don't know how you feel about this.
Well, I feel like the coach and perhaps the team psychologist have a big role to play in that as well, in empowering these guys. If you call them up, it means you've seen something. There's something about their talent that appeals to you.
Exactly.
You think they could fit well into the team. So I think maybe they need to be nurtured a bit for that kind of mental fortitude.
Yeah.
We see it a lot, you know, someone like the young Afinajan, right? We see how Mourinho has kind of taken him under his wing, you know, just to boost his confidence.
Yeah.
And we see the difference. I think a lot of that rests on the shoulders of the coach or the coaching squad and the team psychologist.
Yeah.
The player, to some degree, on their own, they should be able to say, look, I've been called up, which means I have a place here, and I need to earn my place.
Exactly.
But give them a boost somehow.
Yeah,
the
coach
leadership
has a role
of the
to play.
team. Yeah.
And this is actually premised on something that's happened recently. So Augustine Okra, right, plays for Accra-Tema United. He was one of two local players invited, but he was not. He was in the squad for the first game against Madagascar, but was not in the squad for the Central African Republic game. He has decided to opt out of the team, basically, and it created a lot of controversy. So he says that the reason why he decided not to go to Japan with the team is not what people think. So there was a lot of controversy initially. He opted out, and then he put out a tweet that said some things matter more than football in life, like something of the sort. Yeah, something cryptic like that. There's more to life, something of the sort. And so a lot of people were reading a lot of things into it, that he probably might have had issues he wasn't happy with in camp, blah, blah, blah. He granted an interview saying that, well, he got injured over the weekend and didn't want to go and embarrass himself, so he's staying out of the limelight. Some people say that it's damage control. So it's a lot going on with that particular situation. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's move on. Let's talk about transfers, because Real Madrid, after being spited by their first love, or their first choice in choice of a partner, have moved on. So they wanted Kylian Mbappe. It didn't work out. They went for the next hot thing on the market, Aurelien Tchouameni. I don't know if you've heard the name. If you haven't, this is a chance to acquaint yourself with the name. Aurelien Tchouameni, 22-year-old French midfielder from AS Monaco. He is heading to Real Madrid for something in excess of 100 million euros.
What?
Yes. If you didn't think he was a big deal, that transfer fee should tell you how much of a big deal Aurelien Tchouameni is. He's 22 years old. He helped Monaco to qualify to the Champions League. Now think of Aurelien Tchouameni as a baby Paul Pogba, or as a Paul Pogba without all the excesses and the flamboyance. Very straight to the point, very good player, knows how to pick a pass, can tackle, can intercept, everything. Over 100 million euros. So that includes transfer fee, agent fees, and also his own contract and signing on fees. Something in the region of 110 million euros, I think.
Ooh.
Huge money. Huge money.
Huge money.
And yes, and he was being courted or chased by PSG. Apparently, PSG offered him a lot more than Real Madrid offered him. But he decided that, nah, I'm done with France. What Mbappe wouldn't do, I will do. I'm heading out to Real Madrid. That's where I want to play. So Liverpool, Man United, and PSG were all in the hunt for this young man. Jurgen Klopp spoke to Aurelien Tchouameni personally over the phone, but apparently he had eyes only for Real Madrid. He said it was Real Madrid or nothing for him. I don't know if you have a few comments on that.
Okay, well, I'm excited to see what he brings to the squad. This is interesting because, as you said, it's Madrid likes these marquee signings, right?
Yep, they
but
do.
This isn't a name that maybe was creating a lot of
waves,
buzz, like the Mbappe thing, you know. So I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
And more power to him. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully he flourishes there. And there's probably space for him to do that at Madrid.
There probably is. Real Madrid are looking. They look to me like they are rebuilding their squad. So that's what it's looking like. Finally, talking about a baby Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba himself is in the news, and he's looking for love. Guess what? Yeah. He says, I'm being a little mischievous. He says that he wants to be loved at the next club he plays for. I think that's shade to Man United. Yeah,
that's
he
big
says.
shade.
Yeah, he says he wants love from his next club. He wants to be appreciated by his next set of fans. And so it's an interview he granted to Uninterrupted. He says that's what is going on. Pogba also apparently is being courted by PSG, Real Madrid, and his former club, Juventus. I'm guessing that with the signing of Tchouameni, Real Madrid will cool off on Pogba. PSG fans have put out banners in the past few weeks, days, telling Paul Pogba that he should stay away from their club. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but this is like the third time they are warning him. And then also there's Juventus. So I think Juventus might be the most likely destination, but Pogba looking for love.
Okay, let's hope he finds it sooner rather than later, and he
you very
gets his
much,
happiness back. You know, sometimes it's just the match between club and players. Sometimes doesn't work out.
Yeah, it just doesn't work out.
You know, so maybe he'll find solace going back home to Juventus. Let's see. Let's see. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin, for bringing us sports this morning. And don't forget, you can contribute to the discussion. Send us a message on WhatsApp, 0550-585832. Maybe you want to talk about where you think Paul Pogba will end up. Well, just let us know. You can also hashtag Breakfast Daily. Now, we'll be right back and we'll delve into some social issues across the country, so don't go anywhere. And we'll touch base with Kweku David, who is stationed at the Motorway, to show us what exactly is going on and what work they're going to be doing on that major road. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Breakfast Daily on City TV. Again, don't forget to send us a message. You can hashtag Breakfast Daily on all of our social media platforms. And you can send us a message on WhatsApp, 0550-585832. Let us know your thoughts on everything we're discussing this morning. Now, if you're somebody who uses the motorway frequently, we'd also like to hear from you. What would you like to see happen to the motorway if it's being rehabilitated? Okay, what repair works do you want to see? And tell us what it's like using that road. Now, somebody who uses that road quite a bit has joined me in the studio, and we'll be discussing what happens on the motorway and what the scope of work is going to look like. Okay, he's my dear colleague, Kojo Akoto-Boateng. Good morning, Kojo.
Good morning, Kokuri. How are you?
I'm well. I'm very happy to see you.
I'm also happy to see you.
I don't get to see you on radio this week because I'm here. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're here today.
Maybe whenever you're on TV, I should come here.
You should
like
come.
Twice, you know, so
Yeah.
we don't lose that.
Exactly.
But today there's no buff fruits here. Last week when I was here, there was buff fruits.
I think they intentionally, when I'm here, there's
they don't do
nothing,
that.
there's nothing like that here. So maybe it was
it's
for
because
you.
of inflation too. So they've decided not to bring it this week.
Inflation has hit
You
the
have it
bed.
1 week, you don't have it the other week.
I see. Just like me. Yeah, on and off. Anyway, again, great to see you, Kojo. Your favorite street,
Yes.
the long road, as I like to call it, because it's kind of lost the motorway status for so many reasons. But we're going to be looking at that today, and Kweku is standing by there to show us what's going on there. But very quickly, before we go to him, how often do you use that road?
I use it every morning,
Every single morning.
Monday to Friday.
And what's the commute like?
So where I live, the traffic on the main road is terrible.
Okay.
So from Amrahia through Ashiye, Adenta, Medina, Legon to Adabraka, it's crazy. If I leave home at 5:30, I'll get here around 7. So I have to leave home around 5 a.m. if I have to use the main road to get here for, say, 6.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just a distance of about 21 kilometers. So practically, if you are driving at 60 kilometers per hour, you should clear this in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's that bad. So I usually go through Katamanso,
Okay.
then through Nanakrom, then School Junction, Adringano, then I'll join the motorway from there. And that saves you about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, so that's really, and a lot of people are now using that particular route to dodge traffic. But unfortunately, because of the nature of the motorway, if you don't hit the motorway before 6 as well, you'll end up being in a bit of traffic. So yeah, that's how my commute is.
Talk to us about the quality of the road or the condition of the road. Let's say, we know, again, it was built under President Nkrumah's time, concrete road. We've seen some patching that has been done, not with concrete, with other materials. And using that road, I mean, the last time I used it was just this weekend. Yeah. It's an experience, I'll put it that way. I think going is better than coming, though. I mean, going from Accra to Tema better than coming back from Tema to Accra. But you, again, you use it more often than I do, so you can tell us more about it.
I think with the going, because a lot of the vehicles that go to Tema are not too heavy, so I think that there's not a lot of load on the Tema bound side. But the Tema to Accra side, because vehicles would have gone to the ports, carry a lot of heavy loads to the hinterlands, to Mali, to Burkina, there's a lot of load on that side. So if you use the inner lane, it's bumpy. If you use the outer lane, it's bumpy. But if you've noticed, if you are going to Tema, the inner lane is not as bumpy as the outer lane. And that explains it. And there are a lot of potholes on the motorway.
Yes.
And we've not been able to fix them because the motorway is a large structural concrete road. So if there's a portion which is not good, you have to cut that portion off practically and lay the whole portion again so that you have monolithic concrete. Now, as it stands, usually when there's a pothole, we try to patch with concrete. And because that concrete is over 60 years old, it's already set, and you're putting fresh concrete on it, it doesn't bond.
Okay.
So it rains, vehicles pass on it, and then the joints, the bond just disintegrates. And then sometimes too, we patch the concrete with asphalt. So it's like you are mixing palm oil, right? With palm oil, we say milk.
Goodness, what a combination.
There are two different liquids, two different materials with different bonds. So it will not really mix well.
Bond.
So we put the asphalt on the concrete. It doesn't bond, and then it also, so that's how the motorway problem has been. But now I've been told that we are going to start the whole new motorway project in August, which is going to have 5 lanes on the right, 5 lanes on the left, a dual carriage express lane on both sides. So when you hit Tema to Accra, you are in the express lane, you are not going to branch off. And then there'll be slip roads which will connect the various communities along the street.
It's a huge project, it sounds like. Now, what is this going to mean for what we've seen with settlements that have cropped up along the motorway, trotros stopping on a road where it should be continuous flow of traffic, people crossing the road, left, right, center, helter-skelter, causing a lot of chaos. What is this new project going to mean for all of that?
From some of the designs I've seen and some of the briefs I've seen, I've not seen the whole brief, but the little I've seen, is going to be better. For example, at Ashaiman, we are going to have an interchange. You get to the Teshi link, there's going to be an interchange. You get to the Community 18 junction, there's going to be an interchange. So for example, if you are from Ashalebotre to Teshi, you can hit East Legon and use the Teshi link into Teshi. You don't have to come all the way to Accra Mall to come and turn to use the Spintex road to go to Teshi. if you're from the same boat trip to say community 18, you can use the animal husbandry road,
Okay.
the abattoir road,
That's why, yeah.
then go and use the overhead at community 18 junction, then hit community 18, you go to Sakumono. If you're from Ashaiman into Tema properly, already they have some overhead bridge, but now they are going to build a proper interchange to enable the traffic to flow easily.
All right.
And then they are going to have the express lane so that once you hit it at Tema and you're coming straight to Accra,
No curve, no bend.
no curve, no bend, you use the express lane. And they're going to have 3 other lanes which will afford the communities and businesses along the stretch to, so you hit the outer lanes to move easily,
Okay.
to connect and disconnect.
Well, let's catch up with Kweku and see what he's doing on the motorway and where he is exactly stationed. Hi, Kweku.
Hi, Kokui, and good morning to Kojo as well. Kojo, I have to issue a disclaimer. You need to visit us when Frema and I are on the set because we drink coffee and have fruit as well. So, Kokui is the one who has been
I'm dry.
cheating you of the enjoyment. But anyway, so I'm here beneath the motorway, actually. There's a ravine here that's crisscrossing from the East Legon side across to the other side. Now, Kojo, I'm sure you would know the name of the stream and all that, but I don't know what the name of the stream is. But if you look at the bridge, this is where the construction and repair works are happening. Beneath here, where I'm standing, is where the construction, the initial maintenance work to make sure that the bridge is held and secured properly has begun here. They said they will take about 7 days or so to do, and so you can see there that just beneath the guardrail at the top is a particular type of beam that is there, and it's quite well worn. But beneath that is the same type of beam that they are using to support the bottom of the existing bridge, right? And they are going to brace it and secure it to make sure that they can actually come in and do proper construction work to make sure the bridge is maintained properly. So that's what's going on here, and this is where I am at the moment. Kojo, I don't know if you have any thoughts and comments to make on what you're seeing so far.
Well, so these are the I-beams that are supporting the bridge, and on top of the beams, then they have the concrete placed on it. And the river that runs through is coming all the way from the Accra-Tema Mountains. So this is a big river that is coming all the way from the Accra-Tema Mountains and is going to the Sakumono area. So this is it. You can see some of the beams in the river.
Yeah.
I don't know whether these are abandoned or materials they put on site that they are going to use for construction. But this particular bridge was done about 3, 4, 5 years ago. I remember when there were potholes. So they cut the concrete off and they placed a metallic sheet on it, and then they put asphalt on it. That is what is giving us problems now. And I believe they are going to try to rectify that. But in the long term, when the main project is done, I hope they sort out the issues to do with these bridges because they've been there for 60 years. We need to rebuild them and take into consideration some of the lessons we've learned in maintaining them over the past 60 years so that they don't end up giving us problems. So now they are bringing the materials down. So they are bringing the materials down. So they don't look like abandoned materials from previous works. They look like materials they are bringing down now to use for the reconstruction of the bridge.
Now, I mean, you're the building technologist, so you can tell a lot better than I can or any layperson, but the sturdiness of the materials being used and the kind of weight that they can carry, what can you tell us about that?
Structural engineers would usually do the calculation and look at the loads that are going to go on it and the factor of safety. So you can see the beams and columns. These are structural elements which have been tested, which can carry the loads. In fact, when it had a damage and they fixed it, they used some of these materials, and we've not had a problem with it not being able to carry loads or anything. So for these things, I usually trust our structural engineers. They know what they are doing. They'll select the right materials to give the structure the integrity. It's usually the surface issues that end up being a problem. once the support is there, like we've seen, on the surface, the metal is meeting a concrete structure, and the bond, the edge dressing usually is a problem. So there are lots of people who have had burst pipes there, burst ties there,
Yes.
and had various issues at this particular
We
location.
can even see, look at some of the cracks
Yes.
in the road as
Yes.
Kweku's walking.
Yeah.
We can see some of the cracks there that we hope, when all of this is said and done, will be now properly concrete,
Yeah.
you know, renovated.
And the
smoothed
thing with the
over.
motorway and large concrete structures, you realize that there are small strips,
Yes.
maybe less than an inch, right?
Between
Strips
them.
of holes between them.
Yeah.
They are called expansion joints. Concrete, when it heats up, expands. So if you don't leave expansion joints, when it's hot and it expands, it cracks. So that's why we see expansion joints on the bridges and stuff. It's not that
They didn't do the
they
road
didn't
properly.
do. So sometimes people see expansion joints and they're like, oh, the road wasn't done well.
Yeah.
They are just expansion joints that allow for expansion and contraction.
So that's when you're driving, you feel that little
Yes. Yes.
those little.
But then we have to
bumps.
maintain them very well. If you are using the Presec overpass, what we call atomic,
Yes.
you realize that the expansion joints are really
Yeah.
worn and they are becoming
the,
larger.
the gap
holes.
is
Yes.
widening.
So when you see these things happening, you immediately have to move in to fix them so they don't become a problem.
Okay, great. Okay, Kweku is still in the area, I suppose, trying to. Oh, look at this.
So
Okay,
you see,
let's
so
see
so,
some-
so
yes.
this particular shot, this is concrete that
Yes.
this truck is standing on, and before the concrete was the metal with asphalt on it. So
which is
there
why
are
you
three
see-
different elements that cannot bond. So with time, you see wearing, and
Wear
then
and tear, yeah.
it becomes a problem.
Oh goodness me! Well, this is going to be quite expansive as far as the work they
Yeah.
want to do. And I'm sure for commuters, you know, the information about diversions, etc., will have to be very, very, very clear.
Yeah.
So people know what they're getting into.
So
if
this
they use
black
that
car
road.
you're seeing is just crossing an expansion
Expansion
joint.
Okay, there it is.
So that's an expansion joint. And as you can see, to the middle of the expansion joint, there's a lot of wear,
yes.
right? These things, when not fixed, end up exposing sometimes stones with sharp edges. So if you drive over these things, they can punch your tire and you have a
You're
problem.
in trouble.
So these are some of the issues.
Okay, so as we can see, slow-moving traffic as expected around this time on the motorway. But then, as well, there's still workers on site. We've seen ourselves that the workers are there trying to lay the groundwork for the bigger project. Kweku.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kokwi, as you can see, beyond where, you know, what Kojo was referring to earlier on about the fact that the expansion is going to accommodate for those who are living in different communities to be able to move across the motorway.
Yes.
So I think that's actually very, very important, because if you look over there in the distance, you see a whole community that's developed over there, and it doesn't make any sense for people to be going all the way to Tetekwashi and then turning around to come back here to go to the other side of the community. So it makes a lot of sense in 2022 for us to develop the motorway in such a way that they can easily access, you know, coming across. So if it's whether it's the Teshi side or it's Sakumono or it's Labadi, whatever side it is, it shouldn't be a struggle for people to commute from one end of the city to the other. So I am all for the expansion of the motorway, not only for the renovation of what is currently existing, which is terrible. I mean, as you see, some of the potholes are just unbelievable, really. But also for the fact that communities can then function a lot more easily. It means it will reduce traffic hours. It will reduce stress on, petrol usage, stress on vehicles, all of these things, as well as stress on human power and all of that. You know, so I think that it's long overdue, but thankfully we are getting close to it now, and we are beginning to see efforts being made to make sure that it happens. But this traffic is unsightly, honestly. But I guess, you know, with what we have left it, how long we've left it to become, this is what we're going to get. But yes, some kind of accommodation has been made here. As you can see, the gravels here, these are authorized U-turns that have been created for people to be able to easily maneuver their way on the motorway as all the various developments and maintenance projects and all of that take place.
So, and then we can see,
Concrete.
you know, there are some people there waiting to board transport, and originally this road would not be a road where you should see this. I mean, a typical motorway
Yes.
should be a road where the
Yes.
traffic is just moving back and forth, no stop, no, you know. But
Yeah.
again, because of,
Yeah.
like as you mentioned, settlements and things of that nature, it's morphed into a regular street of just a very long one, I suppose. But even the stops, I'm hoping that in the planning there'll be some actual designated bus stops that are properly situated, you know, where there's a berth where vehicles have to actually come off the road, park properly to pick passengers, as opposed to what we've been seeing recently where it's very arbitrary. You can be driving behind a public transport vehicle and all of a sudden
stops.
they just stop. You know, it's
Kokwe,
pretty chaotic and
Kokwe,
unsafe.
if you see this place here right now, right? This is part of the reason why we have the go slow on the motorway. The road is undulating, and it's terrible. You can't speed through this. All right, you will if you're going at the speeds that you should be going on the motorway, your car will definitely somersault. Something dangerous will happen to you. So everybody has to slow down, and this kind of problem is repeated along the entire stretch of the motorway. You have several of them, you know. So in order for drivers to arrive safely wherever they're going, they have to slow down by all means, you know. And this is because a mix of bitumen, gravel, you know, was used to patch the motorway, which is concrete. And of course, Kojo can tell you more than anyone else that this mixture is unacceptable. It doesn't work. It never works, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what I'm also wondering about, Kojo? The median. Now, obviously, it's going to be expanded, so we're assuming that a good portion of that median will disappear with these expansion works. But look at how overgrown the medians are and really unkempt. So,
You know, this median
yes.
actually serves another purpose. If you look at the Tema Motorway median, it's actually a drain. It's a drain. As it is now, it's a drain. So it allows water to flow. So where they've done the U-turn now and put the gravels where Kweku was earlier,
Yes.
I'm wondering if they put pipes in there before they put the gravels
On
there.
top.
Because if they didn't do that, when it rains and the median gets full, the water doesn't flow. And then the water overflows onto the road. And it results in the incidents of the motorway flooding that we see. And it's been so because along the stretch of the motorway, there are a lot of illegal U-turns that have been created, which means that people have had to fill the medians, which is actually the drain. So usually when it rains, you see that water is locked in the medians, water doesn't flow, and it's something that we must pay attention to. But the designs I've seen, the motorway has nice medians in the new design,
Okay.
and it's something that I believe, if done well, would actually put us in a very good place as a country when it comes to the use of the motorway. The other thing also to mention is that we need to ensure that traffic flow on the motorway, when it's done, it's smooth. This is the reason. You see the slow movement of the vehicles. If there's a heavy vehicle with a lot of load, because it's moving slow, the load is concentrated at spots,
Right.
and they put more pressure on the road. Then you see all these problems with certain parts sinking in, certain parts, then it becomes
Right.
undulating. So usually if vehicles can move at an appreciable speed, then the loads are not concentrated at certain spots.
Yes.
So at the moment, if you have 4 trucks back to back, full of load from Tema coming to Accra,
It's a lot
and
of
there's
weight.
traffic, and sometimes you have to stay in one place for 5 minutes, it becomes a problem. So
Okay.
this median too needs work. It's a drain. There's a lot of vegetation in there. It also affects the flow of water and everything, and I think it's something we need to look at.
To look at. Okay. Kweku, you wanted to point this out to us. Yeah, we can see in there as Kojo
Yeah,
was
so I
saying.
was just making reference to the fact that the drainage that Kojo is talking about, that's the drain you can see over there.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Yeah.
is right in the middle of the median. So it's actually a drain, as Kojo was saying, but it's so overgrown with weeds, you don't even see the drain itself, you know. And again, this issue of overgrown weeds in medians and all of that is another, you know, tragic problem that we need to fix ASAP, because all our medians everywhere seem to be overgrown with weeds, and if it's not overgrown, then it means it's a new median. You know, it's unfortunate
Yeah.
that we
have that. And then
Yeah.
the other thing we're seeing, again, these damaged crash barriers, which are supposed to protect vehicles from you know, obviously going over the edge, and in this case into this large stream or gutter, what we want to call it. But we're hoping that in the new design, as Kojo keeps mentioning, that there's some accommodation for that, and for sturdy ones that could possibly resist. Well, I suppose it's a crash barrier, right? Something has crashed into it, so
Yes,
it's
and it
done
needs
its
to be
job,
fixed.
but it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's a crash barrier.
You know, so.
But usually they are not fixed, and people will go and salvage this, and then go and sell as scrap
as
metal.
scrap. Oh man.
And this is not just the motorway; it's almost everywhere. When it happens, nobody fixes them, and it becomes a problem.
A big problem. Okay, so yeah, again, we're bringing you footage from the Accra-Tema motorway, just so people can see what work is going on for the expansion of the motorway. It's going to be starting soon. We've got workers on site who are laying the initial groundwork for the major work that'll be taking place, as Kojo mentioned, in August is when we expect to see the bigger portion of work really kicking off. And here we see the traffic. I think it's just par for the course for people who use that road. Every day they expect to sit in this as they make their way from Tema to Accra in particular. And so today is no different. And we can see, there's a trotro that has it's rejoining the major flow of traffic after either picking or dropping off passengers. It remains to be seen how all of that is going to be accommodated in the new plans for the motorway and for public transport, those who take public transport on that road.
There was a story we did sometime in 2016 about the motorway. Back then, some initial conceptual drawings had been put out, and it showed the various interchanges, how they are going to look. It showed the road, the inner lanes, and everything.
Yeah. People are paying attention. Oh gosh, motorbike riders.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
they have to be careful.
And ideally, with the new design, if you have 2 expressways, 2 lanes express on each side and 3 other lanes, it's going to be safer even for motor riders, because then you have multiple lanes for people to ride safely and drive safely. And I think that as a matter of priority, Ghanaians should pay attention to this particular project, because initially when the PPP department of the Ministry of Finance worked on the initial project scope, they said it was going to cost about $500 million. Right, so it's a lot of money that we don't have. We are going to engage partners to do this. There are also other questions to be asked. When it's done, are we going to toll it? Because if you are going to have a PPP and the PPP person is going to bring in funds, you expect them to recoup their funds somehow. Are you going to toll it? What financial arrangements are we going to put in place to ensure that whoever is investing in this project gets their money back? So those are some of the questions. So interchange at Tema Roundabout, which is there now, funded by the Japanese government.
Yes.
Ashaiman will have an interchange. Community 18 will have an interchange. The Teshi Link will have an interchange. And we are going to remodel the Tetekwashi interchange. Usually when traffic moves from the motorway, they get to Tetekwashi and there's a bottleneck.
Yes.
And then it piles up and moves all the way back onto the motorway. So that is also going to be remodeled. And we are told that there's also going to be something done around Apenkwa, so that the traffic flows. So the Accra-Tema motorway project, the new one, starts from Tema all the way to New Plan, the Achimota New Plan area, to put in place different infrastructure to ease traffic on the corridor.
What are the timelines we're expecting on this?
By 2025, that's some of the things we've picked, that by 2025, the Accra-Tema motorway redevelopment project should be done.
Should be done.
That's something we've picked. It's not fully gone to Parliament, so maybe when it goes to Parliament, we'll get the further and better particulars. But based on the initial scoping and the initial works that have been done and some of the things we've seen, by 2025, this should be done.
The other thing, and we've talked a lot about the fact that settlements have cropped up along the motorway and all of that, and again, transportation, people stopping to get on their buses. But it's like city settlements that are not planned for, they crop up, then we have to adapt and chase development to compensate for that. Is that sustainable? Honestly, Kojo. I mean, yes, we know that people need places to live. We know that we have to accommodate people somehow. But if the original plan for these areas is not to have residential settlements, then why now do we have to? And that's not the only reason the motorway has to be redeveloped and expanded and all of that, but a big reason of why we're seeing some challenges there. Can the government keep doing this though, trying to now create amenities or infrastructure around areas that originally are not supposed to be for human residential?
That's a good one. If you look at Spintex, it's an industrial hub, right?
Yes.
So industries then must come with some form of accommodation. Like we built Tema. We had the industrial zone, and then we had the communities.
Yes, it was planned that way. Planned
so
very well.
It's beautiful, but the Spintex structure is quite different. So you realize that a lot of the factory hands actually live in the slums along the motorway. Some of them also live in the slums in East Legon and cross the motorway into. So we need to look at that. But beyond that, communities need to be linked. Ashaliboche has been a legitimate community. It needs to be linked to Teshi.
Okay.
Nana Chrome areas are legitimate areas that need to be linked to Teshi and Spintex, right? The other thing is sometimes when you need to move from Spintex to say Pokuase, why do you have to come all the way through Circle?
So is that a lack of planning?
So no, so the motorway redesign actually takes some of these things into consideration. So the Pokuase interchange goes through Kwabenya,
Yes.
comes through Riz Junction, goes through Maya Hot, Madina Maya Hot, or is it Ashaliboche Maya Hot, then goes past the aviation lands at Adenta, then goes through Ashaliboche, through Zoom Lion, Animal Farms, then it will hit the interchange at 18, Community 18 Junction. So that if you are moving from Sakumono, for example, to Kumasi or some other place, why do you have to come through the middle of town? You can just use that bypass, hit Pokuase interchange, and off you go. So these are some of the interconnections that the motorway will afford us to have.
That's good.
To build the Accra-Tema roads network properly.
Okay. All right, Kweku, you've had quite a nice excursion at the motorway this morning.
Yeah.
So before we leave you, what else?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, no, just, I've been enjoying listening to Kojo giving us the breakdown, looking at what the motorway will look like, the various communities that it will join, when it's done completely. I do think that, as he mentioned, it needs to go to Parliament fully and properly and quickly so that we can make things move forward. But as you can see here, the commute is real. People are going really slow through it. And I also think, I don't know, Wakojo, what you think. The issue of heavy-duty trucks using the same routes as regular commercial vehicles and private vehicles, I'm not sure if it's such a good idea. But, the motorway we know has a lot of its wear and tear has been because of heavy-duty vehicles who have stopped using the outer lane because that was a slow lane to now use the inner lane because it's damaged, and so on. So I don't know, but yes, these are some of the things from the motorway that we're seeing this morning. Of course, the workers are here. Unfortunately, the engineer who is the one in charge on site is actually granting interviews elsewhere, and so is unavailable here at the moment on site. But his other workers are here, and they are already starting work this morning.
All right. Thanks so much, Kweku. We'll see you back in studio in a bit, I'm sure, but thanks.
Okay.
Thanks much. Yeah, so that was Kweku David, just on site at the motorway, bringing us some footage on what's going on there, repair works and things of that nature. But regarding the heavy trucks, Kojo, weighing stations that some of these trucks, or all of them, are supposed to pass through before, while they're applying the road, right? Maybe we need better ones or newer ones, or the ones that are there, are they sufficient? Are they being utilized properly? What's the situation with that, do you know?
Well, there's a weighing station on the motorway stretch. In fact, expanded weighing station, which accommodates some of these trucks. Sometimes a bit of dishonesty also comes in on the part of people, right? The people working for the state must know that the loads we permit are for a reason.
Yes.
Because the motorway and our routes are actually designed for specific loads. So if we allow too much load, then we are causing problems for ourselves. So I think beyond the machinery, right, the people actually managing these things, because when the vehicle gets on the axle weighing bridge, it's a human being who sees it and passes it, right? We need to really make them know that the service they are providing is actually one of the most important, protecting national infrastructure. And so that's it, because you see it on the motorway. Before you get to Nsawam 2, there's one, there's a mobile weighing station. There are these weighing stations all around. We just need to ensure that the right loads are permitted onto our roads. Also, the issue to do with the heavy trucks dodging the outer lane for the inner lane. Look, if you are driving a heavy truck like that with load, and you always have to brake, step on it just because of potholes and stuff, it's inconveniencing. So everybody would want to use the inner lane.
One.
And at the moment, the motorway actually doesn't qualify to be a motorway. It's just a regular street
It's a long road
where vehicles can just drive. So people using the motorway must know that you cannot do those speeds, the 100 kilometers per hour on the road, because the dynamics have changed. Even the quality of the road has changed. So those are some of the things that we as a people must also appreciate and use the road accordingly before we put ourselves in danger and other people in danger.
The other thing about this road, hopefully there will be some good solar street lights. So it'll be well lit.
Yeah.
You know, at night it's just a death trap, honestly. So I think we're going to be looking at what the plan looks like. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, so this is a 2016 model that we got exclusively on CTFM Online back then. This thing you see here was to show you how some of the interchanges will be. So you see two inner lanes, right?
Yes.
And at this particular junction, the inner lanes, which are the express lanes, are then elevated to go above the runabout below. So that if you take the inner lane, you can go. Now, if you take any of the three outer lanes, the traffic can then be distributed to different areas. I think this was supposed to be, initially, this was supposed to be the Tema roundabouts, I think, but a few things might have changed.
Okay.
There's another one that I want you to see to appreciate what it's going to be. So you see two inner lanes and then other lanes.
Yes.
And here at this particular intersection, the express lane goes
Flies
below.
over.
No, here the express lane goes below the intersection. So when they show the next image, you appreciate this particular image very well. So the next image, yes, so this is it.
Okay.
So the express lane goes below.
Straight.
And this being, let's say if this is a Teshi or a Shaiman intersection, if you are going to go up or if you are going to turn, say, left into a Shaiman, you use the outer lane, climb and use that runabout, which will then distribute the traffic to different areas. Nice. And then there's another image that shows a bit more about. So these are some of the conceptual images we had as far back as 2016. That shows how the motorway could be.
Yeah.
So two inner lanes in, three outer lanes. And the inner lanes will be the express lanes. And I believe when it's done, they are going to be blocked. They are going to be barricaded so that once you hit the express lane,
that's it.
You are just on the express lane. So these are some of the things. And your street lights are there, nicely designed.
Yes.
In the 3D.
We need the street lights, Charlie. They need to be there. They need to be solar powered.
Yeah.
Yes. No, this is, I think this could be life changing. If we
very.
see this project through, this is going to change a lot. For you, your commutes.
It's going to change.
I'll be so happy for you.
People who live at Afenya, people who live at Dawenya, at least that Dawenya road, we've been told that it's under contract and work is being done. So if all these things are done, it's not going to help commuters. It's also going to help with the movement of goods. Because the Tema port is our biggest port when it comes to movement of goods. It takes at least 60 to 70% of the goods that come in. So if it's easier to go in and come out, as we prepare Ghana to be an export-led and a manufacturing industry, a manufacturing country, we can easily move goods to the ports and evacuate them to wherever, and it will help us get more foreign exchange. So and Accra is growing very fast in that part of town. So you look at Amrahia, Adenta, Ashiye, Amrahia, all the way to Oyibidodowa. All those areas connect to Afenya, then they connect to Dawenya. So that quadrant of Accra needs this
badly
infrastructure to make things flow and also communicate with the other parts of Accra.
Awesome. Nice stuff. Okay, we'll keep our eyes on this project and we'll keep bringing you updates on it as and when the work progresses. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, our discussion will continue. Don't go anywhere. You're still watching Breakfast Daily on City TV, and I'm still here with Kujua Koto-Boateng, our colleague here of the City Breakfast Show. And we're talking about, road work on the motorway and medians, not just the motorway median, but across at least Accra and other parts of the country. how do we maintain our medians? You know, that strip that separates one side of a road from the other. Many a time they're very unsightly, very unkempt, and actually very dangerous because they can affect visibility when you're using the road. Now, we'll be taking a look at what some medians look like in town. But Kojo, I know you've talked about this a lot. We've just seen the example on the motorway about what can happen when a median is overgrown. And in that case, it's actually a drain that is supposed to be clear so that water can flow. But for me, it really, aside it being unsightly and, you know, we talk about beautification of the city and it's not beautiful, the danger of having an overgrown median, I think, even outweighs that. Because if people don't have good visibility, obviously, you know what can happen. It can cause accidents. Who's responsible for maintaining our medians?
Different institutions, really.
That's the problem, probably.
Different institutions. There was a time I approached someone at our dental assembly asking about the medians. You know, they have very big medians. When we calculated, it was about...
Yeah, I remember you did that calculation.
6 or 7 acres.
You said you could plant so much
between
maize.
Adenta and the plan was to take the medians and get florists and other people to go use them, and also distribute free seedlings for people there.
Yeah.
They said that median wasn't for them. It was for Ghana Highway Authority. So if the median is on a highway,
it's for the highway
it's managed
authority.
by Ghana Highway Authority. If the median is on an urban road, it's managed by the assembly within which the road falls and the larger urban roads administration in the country. So that's what it is. Practically, if parks and gardens were an active institution, I'm thinking they could take up the contract or the role of maintaining our medians, making sure if it's grass, it's nice and well manicured. If we are putting hedges there, they are well kept and well manicured. If they are ornamental plants, they are well kept and well manicured. So that's really the thing with our medians. If you look at the Aoshi, Pokuasi median that Nathan talks about all the time, we measured that as well, and it was almost about 20-something acres, if you want to put it in perspective. So you see the medians just in the middle of the road like that. If you put it all together, it's a big piece
area
of land which needs management. So what can we do with our medians? Should we just leave it there and get the excuses that, oh, the assembly says we don't have money to buy fuel for a mower, we don't have a mower, we can't pay the boys? What should we do? I think there should be a structure in place to manage these medians. Look at opportunities. We could use these medians to beautify the city and to also bring some economic and even health benefits. Imagine driving through the city and seeing nice flowers.
It lifts your mood.
Nicely manicured lawns.
Nicely beautiful. You've been to Rwanda.
Yes.
That was one thing that stood out to me when I went to Kigali. The medians are beautiful. The medians, the roundabouts, they're green. They've got beautiful flora and fauna. They're well maintained. And I marveled. I thought, so are they're able to maintain this. It looks so beautiful. As you're driving along, you feel so relaxed because you're looking at all of this beautiful greenery and shrubs. And I thought, why can't we just do this?
Sometimes we don't see the advantage of having some of these things, because if it's beautiful, it calms you down. It will lower us. We deal with a lot of stress and in traffic. And
we spend a lot of time in traffic.
And then you want to turn left.
And then you see bush.
Then right, you see bush. This week, after some talk about the medians on TV and radio, I've realized that now the various assemblies and institutions are moving to deal with the medians. So even this morning around the Accra-Tema, I realized that parts of the quadrant has been nicely mowed and is being maintained. We don't have to talk about these things to have them done.
It should be regular.
Because the people who manage these species and all of us, when we are home and our grasses are grown, we mow them. Or we don't take care of our species. And the country is our largest space to manage. So I think that assemblies need to, it shouldn't be difficult having partnerships with all these horticulturists and all these people to do stuff. For example, the Adenta median, so large. If you gave it to horticulturists to have the lawns done and then to place their, their pots and plants there, and then we design signages that will be good on the eye. Advantage points within the median. If you want any of these pots and plants, call this number or contact, or this median is managed by Kokui and Sons Horticulture Limited.
Nice.
You give them space to advertise and display their wares, which actually look good on the eye.
Yes.
And it will be their responsibility to ensure that the lawns and everything is well taken care of.
I like it. Well, let's take a look at an area that, well, it's a prominent area in town, should we say, but something not so pleasant takes place there sometimes. Okay. Now we're looking at Tetekwashi interchange. It's a major spot, right? Okay, let's take a look at this.
I just realized you went to defecate there. Why will you go and defecate at that end?
My stomach they worry me. That's
You say?
I say my stomach they worry me. That's how good that's.
Your stomach they worry. Don't you have toilets around here?
No.
There is toilet in the Accra Mall. Why didn't you go there?
No, I'm not from this area.
Where do you come from?
I'm from Aflau.
Aflau. And you are going where?
I just arrived this bus stop.
So you stopped at the bus stop just to kind of defecate here in the central of Accra.
Somebody showed me say I should come this area. I will figure some place to make myself well.
But are you happy with what you just did?
I'm not happy.
Why should you even contemplate when someone showed you that you should come here and the Accra Mall is right there? Why didn't you choose the Accra Mall and you came here?
You know, show me Accra Mall. I don't know this area. I don't know this area.
Is this your first time in Accra?
Yeah, this is my first time. Yeah, I live at Kaswa.
But you are a driver.
No, I'm not a driver.
What do you do?
So I'm going to take something for Applaud and I go to Kaswa.
So you are a driver then?
I'm not a driver.
What do you do?
Selling.
You
I'm
are
selling.
selling what?
Some small second-hand shoes.
But okay, look at this beautiful hotel, look at the Accra Mall, and look all around you. You realize that this is the center, if I'm not lying, of Accra, a place that we should all make beautiful. Why would you choose to do this here? Can you sit in your bedroom?
No, I'm begging you. I'm just begging.
No, I am not the one here asking you to beg me. No, I'm just asking you, I mean, in the right sense of things, okay? As a right thinking person in society, would you be comfortable sitting here, even at the back of your own building?
I'll not be comfortable, but my stomach, they worry me, that's fine.
What's happening to your stomach?
I eat some food beway, they peg me. From Afro come, he peg me. That's why I'm rushed to come here.
All right, so this is probably your first time, I have to assume, but what do you think should be done for people who are traveling just like you so that next time you won't find it convenient to defecate here?
Oh, this, I would tell you, I'm begging.
No, I'm not asking you to beg, but I'm asking that what, in your own view, do you think the authorities should do about this particular place so that tomorrow when you are traveling, you can easily alight if you are uncomfortable with your stomach?
The fence, this thing, I can't enter inside, I come and shit for here.
So that is one. You think they should fence this place?
Yeah.
Aside the fencing, what should they do to this beautiful place?
Like this thing, how do you call it? If you no cry in food baby, I mean to me enter inside some babe.
So in essence, because the place is bushy, that's why you took advantage.
Oh no, not be so. This one they must work with worry me. That's why I come here.
But if this place was not to be, let's say, left this bushy,
I can't enter inside.
So because it's left bushy, that's why you can.
Yeah.
So assuming they plant beautiful flowers here, they make the place look so beautiful like a garden. Yeah. Can you walk in and shit?
I can't walk inside and shit. I can't walk inside and shit.
We want to make Accra the beautiful place in Africa. What is your contribution to that?
Oh, if they make here neat, if they make the wood here neat, as I say here is nice. I can't enter inside, come and shit. So because of how much somebody worry me, that's why I enter this bush, come and shit. So if they make here neat, I can't enter inside.
What is your full name?
I'm be Ernest.
What?
Ernest.
Ernest what?
Yeah, boy.
So that is a gentleman who actually we spotted. We caught on our camera, went all the way into the bush there to defecate. Open defecation is not only happening in the villages, it's happening right in the center of the capital, Accra. Specifically, this is the Tetekwashi runabout. A number of people have taken advantage of the fact that the place looks bushy, is unkept, and the fact that they would prefer to come here to defecate as long as it's not preserved to befit what a city should have.
Sorry, so many concomitant issues come from this. Kojo?
This is bad. This is
It's
sad.
bad, but it does raise a question, okay? If you're caught in a situation like that, where you have a stomach ache, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, people. This is not funny. Okay. You have a stomach ache. Where are you going to go? There's no bathroom anywhere on any of our major roads. So I feel for the guy, somehow.
I feel for him. I don't, because in this
Oh,
case
you don't?
he was around the Accra Mall.
Okay,
The
in
Accra
this
Mall
case.
has public bathrooms, so he could have gone into the mall to use them. That's why I don't feel for him. I feel for him because how many people who are not within the city even know that there's an opportunity to use these bathrooms?
Well,
Right?
uh-huh.
So that's the thing. Because we've lived in a system where we've not had proper public places of convenience littered all over.
Yes.
People have been doing it the best way they can. So
Hey.
so if they get into certain spaces, they don't even think about the possibility of having a place like that. The first instinct will be to use the bush which has been left there for them.
Yes.
Imagine this place had been nicely manicured.
Exactly.
There was no way you could hide within the bush to do whatever he was
and
doing.
that abandoned truck, or whatever it is
Exactly.
there. But, okay, so imagine that place was properly taken care of and manicured. Where would he go? If he didn't go to the mall,
Then he
what
would have
he
to
do?
enter the mall
He would have been forced to enter the mall.
or
So-
any of the hotels. And the truth is, wherever you find yourself, if you need to use a public place of convenience, if there's a hotel, if there's a guest house,
Yes.
the law actually allows you to do
You're
that.
supposed to be able
You're
to
not
do
bad
that, right?
Yes.
So he should have entered the mall.
Yeah.
But again, this is just one area. The motorway, for instance, there's no rest stop where you can just pull off on the side of the road, enter a place, use the restroom, come out. We need to look at that. Public places of convenience, we
Yeah.
just don't have them.
Was it a week or two ago that I think the minister of the sector or somebody, I've forgotten who, said that we really need to work on those rest stops on the highway,
Yeah.
and it's actually one thing they are going to prioritize.
Good.
And so it needs to be done. But realistically, we also need to go on a public education campaign. Let people know some of these things. People know what they don't have to do, but it should also
Yes.
show people what opportunities or what avenues are there for them to use some of these things.
Kojo, if you're somebody who is incontinent, okay, you have problems holding your bladder, or you have a running tummy, and you are in the middle of, let's say, the motorway, and you desperately need to go, your only choice is to enter that overgrown drain that you showed us.
Yeah.
Maybe to excrete whatever in there
Yeah.
and move your way. And we see it all the time. And you see a lot, elderly people, elderly men driving, they can't hold it. There's no way that man, if he's sitting in motorway traffic, he can't wait to get to the mall to go and do it. He has to, you see some nice gentleman open his door, he now has
something.
to.
You are
What?
using the motorway. It's just 19 kilometers. If that,
Kojo,
I'm coming,
for an
I'm coming.
incontinent person, 19 kilometers is like a marathon.
Kukuyi, I'm coming.
You're running.
If that 19 kilometers didn't have the challenges it has in its current states, and we were doing the approved speed on the motorway,
Kojo,
I'm coming. You should be able to do Accra Mall to Tema in 15 minutes.
when a person has to go,
Has to
he
go.
or she has to go. Time waits for for that thing there. There's no. Some people are like that. They really, when it comes, the urge comes, they don't
Yeah.
have any.
Yeah.
They can't really wait. And there are people who have actually a medical condition. If there was a rest stop along the way, maybe, like you said, it's 19 kilometers. So maybe at the halfway mark, there should be a rest stop. Either way, you could stop in there. Then by the time you get to the end of it, Accra Mall is there or something.
Yeah.
Just to accommodate people. Even with those of us with kids, as you know, when our kids need to use the bathroom, especially with boys, they can't hold it. Next thing you know, you're holding a plastic bottle in the car, and it's a whole. So
it's something we need to do for
It's a problem.
tourism purposes, for
Yes.
general national convenience. Because sometimes when you drive on the highways, you can go
And there's nothing.
Sometimes the argument people would make, especially if you are using, say, the Western Corridor Road, you are doing Wenchi to Bamboy to Bole to Fufuso, Sola. Sometimes when I'm using that road, I can drive for like 2 hours. I won't meet any other car.
look at that.
Right. So some people make the argument that in those areas, if you must do it, you can just stop, enter the bush, and do it right, cover it, and move on. So there are different places and the different dynamics. If you are doing, say, Accra-Tema, because it's fully urbanized along the stretch, you need to prepare certain institutions or fix some of these things there. There are fuel stations along the stretch. These fuel stations are mandated to have washrooms, and their washrooms should be kept clean for people to use them. So as part of the regulation by, say, NPA, and the assemblies that give them business permits, they should ensure that their washrooms are always kept clean so travelers can use. So there are certain things you don't have to re-engineer altogether. You look at the stretch, you look at whatever infrastructure is there and opportunities there, and you optimize those opportunities to use. Look at certain other places that you cannot have those things. Then you invest. We can't say we want to use a blanket solution for all our highways from N1 to N12. I agree. R1 to R128 and all those things. You cannot have a blanket.
But you see, the other thing, the other reason it should be treated with urgency is the gentleman we saw, for instance. He went to relieve himself. He didn't wash his hands. I don't even think he wiped himself, right? So he's carrying the remnants of his excursion. He'll get in public transport. He'll probably hand money to a mate or a driver, you know, whatever vehicle he gets in. He may purchase something from the road. He'll be handling money. He may, shake someone's hand. Then you start to get these communicable diseases spreading around because the hygiene, there's no trace of hygiene there. Do you understand? So it's a health issue as well. You know, aside the fact that it's unsightly, there's a serious health issue when people are relieving themselves in places where it should not be done. And again, not even a place to wash their hands properly with soap and running water. Really, we need to do better.
We need to do better. And largely, we need to educate people. We need to educate people. They should know the do's and don'ts and some of the avenues they have within the system to address some of these things. Sometimes you can even walk to a bank and ask the security man politely, look, I have a stomach problem. Allow me to use. And we have a lot of these businesses all over. So ask politely. And if there's a hotel, guest house, restaurant, any of these public places, you can just enter any of those and use. And on the highways too, we need to do a mapping of our various highways. For example, if you are doing Accra to Kumasi, at least from Accra to Nsawam Junction, it's well built up, lots of fuel stations, you can use any of them. From Nsawam to Suhum, there are a couple you can use. From Suhum through Apija Junction, there's a fuel station. From there to Enyinam, through Sino, there's a fuel station.
And like you said, clean
there are
and
police
well-maintained.
stations also by the roadside. We could use all those. Police stations, fire service stations, all those. We could use them. Between Enyinam to Nkoko, you'd have even passed Linda Door, you'd have passed at Champim Royal Guest Stop, you'd have passed the new one. I forgot the name, the big one. So it's a Star Way or something. It's quite huge. There are so many opportunities. So you do the mapping and you ensure using the regulators in the space that these people should keep their washrooms open and clean all the time. And certain other places that you don't have a lot of these businesses along the stretch, you then find a solution that will work for those spaces. So we don't have to throw money away and put pressure on us.
Thank you so much, Kojo. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Next time, have buff fruits.
Next time, when we know you're coming, we'll put buff fruits on for you. Okay. All right. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We're getting into more conversations on Breakfast Daily, and you can continue to interact with us. #Breakfast Daily. WhatsApp 0550 585832. We'll be right back.